The shorter stage of this 2015 Giro d'Italia, 134 kilometres from Tirano in the province of Sondrio in Italy, and it's a cross-border excursion today to Switzerland and to the canton of Ticino. A finish in Lugano, the largest city in the area, only once you've been down the Adda Valley, up past Lake Como, through Morbengo, and of course into Switzerland itself. Menaggio across the border and heading up to Lugano, where we expect a bit of a sprint. Has anybody recovered enough, though? That's the question. Flattish stage today. Transition 134 kilometres. Time to join Juan Antonio Fletcher. But first, here's your host, Ashley House.
Giro Extra, coming to you live from a boat in the middle of Lago di Lugano. And after a brilliant ride from Alberto Contador up the Mortirolo yesterday and a second consecutive stage win for Astana's Mikel Landa, today it's stage 17 and the peloton cross from Italy into Switzerland for this 98th Giro d'Italia's continuation. Juan Antonio Fletcher is driving the boat today. Hi, Juan Antonio. So if I fall in, it's his fault. The riders set off at 2 o'clock. Let me give you an update on where they are so far. 3 leaders, Berlato of Nippi Vini Fantini, Kaiser of Ethics Quickstep and Bandiero of Androni have around about 2 minutes on 2 chasers and then back to the peloton. But more of that in a moment. The other news today is that Alberto Contador could be going home this evening. But don't worry, it's only because he lives just on the hills up there, as you can see. Let's remind ourselves of what happened yesterday.
Well, yesterday, it all happened yesterday. And after a mechanical problem on the previous downhill, Alberto Contador in the pink jersey, 51 seconds behind Fabio Aru's group, which had attacked him quite controversially on the descent. Aru in the lead, Contador making his way up. The ride of his life up the Mortirolo. Horrible steep mountain with narrow roads. And once he reached the top, after a brief rest, it was time to attack. Mikel Landa told that he could be having the freedom and he would finally leave the side of Fabio Aru. Steven Kruijswijk was up at the top as well as Aru continued to have a crisis on the Mortirolo. That horrible, unforgiving piece of road, up to 18% gradients at times. Over the top, it would be Kruijswijk to take the points, Contador in second, Landa third. Still with 33 kilometres to go. The gap between Contador and Aru's group at 1:48. Aru having a mechanical, quick cyclocross remount, but he was to be unable to make up the time. Once we got to the final few kilometres, this happened. Bit of looking around, Mikel Landa attacking, and suddenly with a huge gap and 5 hours, 2 minutes in, Landa would win, and he'd become the first man to win back-to-back mountain stages on the Giro d'Italia since Emanuele Sella in 2008. Contador crossing the line with Kruijswijk still leading the Giro d'Italia. Fabio Aru, though, slipping from second to third. Contador remaining in pink.
Well, we're still afloat. Juan Antonio is with me now. Juan Antonio, yesterday, after Alberto Contador has had a double shoulder dislocation, a puncture, 2 crashes, he still performed like that on the Mortirolo. What did we learn about Alberto yesterday? Well,
we learned especially that even not that matter the adversities, when you're wearing a pink jersey, you need to keep going and keep racing and just not give up. And that's what Alberto did yesterday. I mean, he had a puncture, he got this wheel from Ivan Basso and not many teammates with him before the Mortirolo. But even though he managed to chase the gap and to be back on the main GC guys, who was Landa and Aru.
And how good was his ride?
Was very impressive. I mean, many people were saying, wow, it's impressive the way he climbed. It was very nice to watch and to see how good he was climbing. But you compare his time of the climbing was not the best of the Mortirolo. There were many other riders that climbed the Mortirolo faster than him in other years and other times. He was just a good climbing and a good timing, but not the best and by far the top 5, so he was not even as good as the top 5 ever.
No, indeed, that's right. Let's hear what Alberto Contador had to say to Juan Antonio yesterday after the stage.
Alberto, congratulations for another day in pink. And well done for the way you reacted calmly to what happened to you just before the Mortirolo. Well, thank you. It's true that it was a difficult day because I had a puncture at the worst moment. Fortunately, Ivan Basso gave me his wheel, and we tried to get organised in time with my teammates to get back. They helped me a lot, but we couldn't immediately close the gap. So just before the start of the climb, I actually had to leave my teammates behind and chase alone. At one moment I was at the limit, but I managed to keep riding at my own pace, and I managed to close regularly the gap to the leading group. At the end, I'm happy because on this kind of stage, I think I'll remember forever. Of course, it would have been better to have the victory on top, and I think that the viewers will also remember this stage as well. I think they show a great show today. Well, you speak about supporters and the spectators. We can see on the climbs here at the finish, you've got a lot of support. The Italian fans clearly recognise you as a great champion and a rival to Fabio Aru. But, you know, I live close to Italy and I've got lots of fans in this country. Riding here for me is like riding at home, really. It's amazing for me. I enjoy every kilometre of this stage, and I ride with all the support I get from them, and I thank them all. Thank you.
So a very hard day and an impressive performance from Alberto Contador, but also, Juan Antonio, a change of leadership for Astana.
Yeah, I mean, Mikel Landa, he'd been showing, especially yesterday, he showed that he was stronger than Aru. Aru showed a great performance on the first week, but it seemed like now he's struggling a little bit more. That's why the team Astana said, well, we changed our roles a little bit. So, Landa was normally Aru's domestic, turned to being also the GC, and he won 2 stages already. So he's up there on second position on GC, and that's the way it has to be. I think if something rider better, it's up to him to take the lead.
A difficult day for Fabio Aru yesterday. Let's think about today's stage with the fatigue after yesterday, with the lack of sprinters and with the profile. What do you expect to happen today?
Well, I think there'll be for sure some teams interested on the bunch sprint, but it's been a hard beginning of the stage. The first 15 kilometers a little bit climbing, and so it's going to be hard for them to control and to chase them back. But there are not many riders up the road, so probably we see some working together from Trek, Lotto, Soudal. Who knows? Maybe other teams also join them, and probably it's going to be easier for them to come to the bunch sprint. It's a short stage, so for me, with that climb, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but let's see how it goes, because it can also happen. I mean, it's a hectic final with those tunnels coming into Lugano. It's narrow road, so it's still a little bit of a chance for a breakaway to make it to the finish. Remember, in the Giro, we've seen many breakaways making it to the finish, so why not again today?
We have indeed. As Juan Antonio said, it is one of the shorter stages of this year's Giro. So given that it started already, the riders are coming over the top of the categorised climb, ʻdʒiːro. Let's go now to your live commentators here on Eurosport, the home of cycling.